All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Jim Crispino. I'm the Senior Director of Developer Evangelism here at Genesys. And this is our DevCast series for the month. This month, we're presenting the new Developer Center, the refreshed Developer Center. And we have with us our guest speakers, Tim Smith, who is the Lead Developer Evangelist for the Dev Center, and Ebenezer Osai, I should have checked your name, Ebenezer. I'm sorry. You can introduce yourself here in a minute. And Jacob Shaw. So they'll be presenting the changes to the Dev Center, and I will give you a few logistics before we move on. We will try to keep a 10-minute Q&A toward the end of this session, and this tutorial is being recorded, and we will upload it to our Genesys Community YouTube channel, which you can access from the Developer Center at developer.genesys.cloud/video. And with that, I am going to stop sharing, and Tim, I will turn it over to you.
All right, thanks, Jim. My name's Tim Smith. I'm the Lead Developer Evangelist for Genesys Cloud. And today I'll be walking you through the Developer Center. I apologize for my voice. Turns out you can schedule webinars, but you can't schedule when your kindergartner gets you sick. So here I am today. With that, let me introduce the rest of the team. Ebenezer.
Hi, my name is Ebenezer Osei, and I've been with the developer engagement team for like 9 months now, and I am an associate software engineer with the team.
Thanks, Ebenezer. Jacob.
Hello, I'm Jacob Shaw. I'm a software engineer with Genesys, developer engagement team. Primarily, I work on the Developer Center.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
And Tim, before you get started, everyone, if you have questions while this is going on, please use the Q&A option at the bottom of Zoom instead of the chat, so we can see these and answer these. All right. There you go, Tim.
All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll jump right into it. So here we have our new Developer Center. We've worked with our user experience team to come up with a fresh new layout and design for the site. The front page here, we've started with search front and center, so you can search anything you like on the site. We have some common landing sections here: getting started, API Explorer, link to the developer tools, guides, blueprints, videos, App Foundry, and forum. We also have our 11 information architecture categories linked here. These 11 categories are the basis for the navigation on the new site that I'll jump into. But before we get into the actual content of the site, notice this privacy settings banner down here. We do take privacy very, very seriously, and we do not track any information unless you give us permission to. This includes site user settings that if you don't want us to write information to your browser's local storage, we won't. That means if you do something like turn on dark mode and then refresh the page without allowing browser storage, it goes back to the light setting. So make sure if you want your settings to be persisted that you allow that browser storage, and optionally allow the telemetry analytics as well. We use Google Analytics to track page hits and things like that. So once we're there, I would personally suggest one of the first things you do is turn on that dark mode. As great as a bright white site is, I personally like it in the dark mode. I find it much easier to read, although some people do prefer the light mode. I've heard users with astigmatism can have trouble viewing the dark mode site. So we have a toggle right up top, front and center. Choose the mode which is best for you. So jumping right into that. When you enter the site, over here on the left, we still have the navigation on the left, but we've done away with the very minimal set of links that exist there and broken it out into our information architecture categories. So those start with analytics and data management. Inside there, you'll find things about the analytics APIs, the different types of jobs and queries, all sorts of things that go with analytics. Content management is in here as well. So if you're uploading documents using our content management offering, you'll find those APIs in here. We also have recording, speech and text analytics, and upload APIs. in this analytics and data management. So anything to do with getting data into or out of the system should be found there in the analytics category. We have authorization, pretty straightforward. If you are creating a new app and want to authorize it, here's all the documentation for how you get started with that, and how to authorize your app to make API requests to Genesys Cloud. We have billing APIs. So this is mainly useful for partners checking into their customers' orgs. Those APIs are here. Communication and digital. This is another pretty popular category. Here you're going to find everything to do with chat, web messaging, bots, faxes are in here for anybody who still uses faxing, voicemail, all that. GDPR and privacy, pretty straightforward. Notifications, if you want to use real-time notifications, you can find that information here. I'll skip over that section for now. So we'll talk, check in with Ebenezer later for more information about that. Organization information can be found here. This is mainly administrative type things, and as well as search. So whatever you might do to get information about your org. The platform section, this is one of the core sections dealing with things that affect the entire platform. So there are various points of integration and just general information about the Genesys Cloud platform here. We have routing and conversation handling as well. So anything dealing with conversation APIs, if you're writing agent interfaces or manipulating conversations, this is going to be the section for you right here. Telephony, anything with phones, locations, stations, general telephony configuration with your edges, you can find that here. And then finally, user and agent management. Anything to do with users, configuring them, getting information about them, and workforce management, anything like that can be found here. So this organization of the site is a bit different than before. Previously, we had organized things based on how you interact with Genesys Cloud. So we organized it into individual sections for the public API, for SDKs, for the WebRTC SDK. Everything was in a different place depending on how you were trying to get out of the platform. The information that we collected from our user base was that that's basically not how they use the platform. So we organized it in a more topic-centric manner. So a lot of the content has moved, and we definitely understand that that's going to take some getting used to, that things aren't where you found them before. Any old links should still redirect to the new content location. So if you bookmark stuff, your bookmarks shouldn't be broken. If they are, please use this, was this page helpful down at the bottom, and report those links to us. But this information should, once you get used to it, and particularly for new users, should be a lot easier to find the information you're looking for, as well as being able to drill down now without losing your place. So you can switch back and forth between pages and not lose your place in the site, and the navigation won't change on you. Some of the other core features we have, we've built in developer tools to the site. So up here in the top right corner, we have the account selection dropdown. Whenever you first click on that, it doesn't show a whole lot, shows you your privacy settings, and then you have an add account button. So if you want to try out API requests, for example, you can add account right here, choose your region. And if you want to be prompted for login, you can turn this toggle on. So the default behavior when the toggle is off is if you are already signed in a region and you select that region here, you'll automatically complete the OAuth flow and be authorized in this application. If you are not signed in, it will prompt you for credentials. If you turn the setting on, it will forcibly prompt you for credentials, allowing you to add multiple accounts in the same region and even in the same org, so you can switch back and forth between them. So I'll go ahead and add one in US East 1. And so now we get a message here telling me that the account was added. I was redirected back to the same page I was on before. And now when I expand this, I have information about my user. We can see the user's name and org name as well, and see their region here. We can see the user ID, org name, org ID, division, and division ID with copy buttons on them. So we can click those and copy that data for use in API Explorer or anything else you're doing, we have this information quickly available to you to copy and paste. I'll show you adding another account as well. So this time I'm going to forcibly prompt for login because I want to add another account in US East 1. So this time we'll log in with a different user. I need to change my org. And so now on this list, I see the current account is still Bob Belcher, but now I have Bojack Horseman down here. I can click on Bojack and it'll switch that to the active account and all of the active account information updates for that user as well. So now as we're browsing around the site, we can use API requests directly in the site. I'll leave that there for now. Later on, we'll hand off to Jacob and he'll talk more about that. One of the other features that we have on the site is if you have a particularly small display, some content doesn't fit well on the site. We do support displays as small as 720p resolution. So some of those windows can get pretty small and it becomes a lot harder to read the content. To enable you to use this content better, we have these collapsible sidebars here. So you can individually collapse the left and right sidebars to maximize the reading space on your display. And when you hover over, they'll pop back open so that you can browse around and continue using the site using the majority of the screen real estate for reading. You can click that button to pin it back, open or closed, depending on what you like best for your layout. One of the other features we have down here in the bottom right-hand corner is this toolbox. So whenever you click on that, it opens up and shows you the toolbox apps. You can resize it as large as your window will go. And what this toolbox is for, it's an in-page toolbox to give you access to some of the interactive tools that you'll find on the site. So the first one, API Explorer, it shows you the guide here, how to use it, how it works, and just walks you through that application. Once you save resources, they'll show up here in the list. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So if, say I'm looking around at analytics and data management, go into analytics, and I'm looking at the analytics APIs. So I have this list of APIs here, and I want to save this conversation details query. So I can click on the star, and it says save to toolbox. When I open my toolbox, I can see that resource is now right here, and I can see the full information about this resource while I'm looking at it in the toolbox. And while this toolbox is open, I can continue to browse around the site and look at other information and still use this toolbox and use the information in it. So rather than have multiple tabs, if you have enough screen real estate, this can be a useful tool to be able to do two things at once. Notifications, same deal. I'll leave that to Ebenezer to talk about further later. And pages work basically the same as the API Explorer resources. So the star next to a page title, whenever you click that, it will save that page to the toolbox and allow you to view that page in the toolbox. So you can continue to browse around the site and look at multiple pages of documentation at once. If you bookmark multiple pages, they'll show up in the list. And you can switch between them as you're browsing around. So again, this is simulating tabs. So it allows you to view two things at once and saves this list. So as long as you allow browser storage here in the privacy settings, this list of API resources and pages will persist beyond page refreshes and sessions. So if you come back a couple days later, all this information should still be there. If you click the help button, this will give you a walkthrough of how this feature of the toolbox works. And so you can read more about it there. Finally, in the toolbox, we have settings. This is just another place where you can access your privacy settings and also the local app cache. So if anything is ever wrong with the site or just for privacy reasons, you want to wipe out the data that the app has stored in your local storage, you simply click this button and it will wipe out that storage and reload the app. You'll see all your settings go away. your accounts get forgotten. They're no longer on the list, and you see the privacy settings banner again, because that wipes out all settings, including whether or not you allowed us to track you. So we'll turn those back on, put ourselves back into dark mode, and everything we bookmarked is gone now. However, you can rebookmark applications or bookmark resources and pages, and they'll be persisted again. All right, I think with that, I will turn it over to Jacob to talk about the API Explorer.
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so Tim touched on briefly the API Explorer. Just gives a UI for making API requests and also allows you to browse documentation for the API. So it's a convenient way to test your invocations before you go and add them to your code. So first, I'm going to go over the category filters. You can clear these all out, and I just want alerting. So I'm going to add that. And then there's a filter over here that you can just manually enter. I'll just say interaction stats. And we'll take this one. So there's a lot of functionality in these API resources. I'm just going to touch on some high points. Right now, by default, it's not going to be in reading mode. And that's going to mean that you can fill out the model editor with your requests. So if you wanted to just browse the documentation, you could put it in reading mode here, and then you won't have the ability to make a request, but you'll be able to see the documentation. These links here will let you copy the link to the resource itself. And so say you had some data in here that you wanted to keep in the link, you could do it with that, or you could copy it with just Markdown. And I'll just briefly go over the tabs. This is the authorization tab. Most of these are going to be OAuth authorization, but some of them aren't, and it's going to tell you that here and give you some more information about that, about how we use OAuth. And permissions and scopes, it's just going to tell you which permissions and scopes are required, and it's going to tell you if you have those. If you're in reading mode, it won't give you that, but if you're not, then it will. So then we have limits, and that's going to tell you the various limit data for these resources, and it'll give you the scope for where these limits are applied to, or which resources. Okay, so getting into the request, you've got authorization, headers. These are going to be pre-populated based on the resource and the logged in user, but you can change these. You could also add a custom header. So we just say key value, and we go down, and that'll be added down here to the request. Then we have the query parameters. So this one just has this notification users expand. So getting into the body of the request, this is the model editor. So whatever I type over here, let's say my ID is going to pop up over here in the JSON. And this works both ways. So if you had your JSON and you pasted it in here, it would also pre-populate on this side. But just for the sake of brevity, I'm just going to go through here, and let's say, what else do we want to do? Notification users. So we have this array, and we'll just say my ID, my name, and that's going to pop up over here in the body. And when you execute the request, that request body is going to go into the request down here. So once you're logged in, you'll be able to execute that request. I don't want to expose any data, so I'm not going to execute the request, but just so let's go to invocations. So we have the various SDKs, as well as the CLI, JSON, curl, HTTP. And those are just going to give us examples of how we can make these requests inside that SDK or that type of invocation. So this is the net SDK, and it'll just give you a code block of an example of how to use the method that corresponds to this API resource. Okay, and then going into responses, it's going to be broken up by status code. So if it's successful, this is going to give you your response body, and this will show you the fields that are going to be in that response body, as well as the type and whether it's required. And then we have the same thing for each status code. So there is more functionality, but this is just sort of an overview. And that is the end of my presentation for that. I'll hand it back to Tim.
Cool. Thanks for showing that, Jacob. One thing real quick, let me reshare my screen. So I did want to point out where you can find that information. Over on the navigation below the 11 primary categories, we do have various resources. In the developer applications section, that's where you'll find the API Explorer. So right there, you'll find that, as well as other dev tools that we have. Notice this is currently in beta. The old tools are still present for the full time that all the new tools are in beta, and won't be taken down until a little while after. We'll announce that with plenty of notice on the developer forum when it's time to deprecate the old tools. Given that these are still in beta, we are looking for feedback. So if you have any comments, criticisms, suggestions, please use the feedback site, use the feedback form at the bottom of the page, or preferably post on the developer forum in the site feedback category. We do actively engage there, and we do want to hear from you. We take that feedback very seriously and are continually incorporating that into new features and updates to the site. So if you have anything to say, please don't be silent. Please let us know. With that, let me turn it over to Ebenezer to talk about our notifications tools.
Okay, let me share my screen. You can see on screen, right?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, so I'm going to mainly focus on the available topics. Now, as you all know, notification service offer you the ability to subscribe to a topic and receive events from that topic through WebSockets or EventBridge. Now we refreshed the available topics page right now and made it more interactive. We added a search bar right here where you can search for a topic you're looking for. Like, say you're looking for presence, you can easily put like presence in here and it pops up right here. We also included a filter to sort out the transports being used for a topic. Now, mind you, some topics have or use both WebSockets and EventBridge. Some of them is just for WebSockets, some of them is just exclusive for EventBridge. And for that reason, we have these color codes right here, like as you can see, and it's also on the row of like the topics. So it makes it very easy to differentiate between the transports being used. So I'm going to choose presence to talk about the features. So in here, let me start with the general information. So the general information is basically where you can like copy the link and send it to somebody else, or you're trying to copy it to another browser. You can easily copy it right here and paste it into a browser. And required permissions is basically checking if you have the permissions to subscribe to a topic. So here it says no required permission, so I can go ahead to subscribe, but say if just want to show you how it looks like if I don't have the permission. So right here, I don't have the permissions to subscribe to this topic, and I get like this icon right here telling me that I don't have the permissions. Also, you get to see the permissions you don't have so that you contact your admin to give you such permissions. Let me go back to the presence. Okay. And also show you the transports being used for the topic and this also shows you the API path of the topic. So here you can subscribe to a topic in here by selecting a channel. Now, if you don't have a channel, you can easily create one here. We give you the chance to create a channel right here, and I'll go ahead and create a new one. Now, if you create a new one, it automatically selects the new channel that has been created. So that way you don't have to select it after it's been created. And I'm going to subscribe to this topic just to show you how it is. So I just subscribe to a topic, and I will go ahead and show you later how it's going to look like in the toolbox. But before I do that, I want to talk about the schema. So the schema right here provides you the schema of how the payload is going to look like from the event. And I'll go ahead and move to the toolbox. Okay, so in here, in the notification toolbox, you get to see the channels you have created on the side. And because I created one here, the channel that I created before, like right now, has showed up here. And it also shows me the topic I have subscribed to, and also give me the ability to filter if I have multiple topics subscribed to the channel. I think I'm trying to remember if there's a limit or not, but like you can subscribe to multiple topics on one channel. So I'll go ahead and even subscribe to a second topic just to show you what I mean. So like say for activities, you can go ahead and subscribe to another topic right here. And you can see the topic I just subscribed to just showed up here. And I'm going to show you how it looks like if there is an event coming in. So I just switched the status of my my instance like in my Pure Cloud app, and it shows you what just happened. Like it gives you real-time events of whatever event that gets kicked off. So this is for this. There are 4 events right here because I've subscribed to 2 topics right now, and both of them send similar events because of its nature, because activity also includes presence. And if I want to filter it out, I can just click on this and it filters like the topic, the selected topic. It just shows you what has been selected, as you can see. And if for some reason you are not like really familiar with the whole service, there's also a link to the documentation right here. So you can just click on it and it brings you to the main page of the notification service, and it shows you how to create a channel, subscribe to a topic, or utilize the payload that comes in. And yeah, so these are just information about the channel when it expires and like the URI of the channel. You can also select it, copy it right here. And I think that's mainly the overview of the new notification service or notification tool. So without any further thing to talk about, I'll just switch it over to Tim.
All right, thanks, Ebenezer. Appreciate you showing that off, and thank you, Jacob, for showing off the API Explorer. So like I mentioned before, we are still in active development on those tools while they're in beta. So if you have any feedback, please join us on the developer forum and let us know. It doesn't look like we have any outstanding Q&A items. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Feel free to reach out to us on the forum or through the feedback form on the site if you come up with any questions later. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
Tim. All right, we'll see y'all next month, everybody. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.